Hello students, welcome to the English class. In this video, we shall learn the poem A Legend of the Northland. This poem is written by an American poet, Phoebe Cary. The poem is a legend about an old lady who angered Saint Peter because of her greed. The story goes on like this. One day, Saint Peter was preaching around the world and reached the door of a cottage where this woman lived. A legend is a popular story from the past which is believed to be true but cannot be verified. It is narrated to children to teach them moral values. So, now let us read and enjoy the poem. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. Where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bears' cubs in their funny furry clothes. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Once a good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching, just as he did, you know. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on hearth. And faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from a store of cakes to give him a single one. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. Therefore she needed another and still a smaller one, but it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer. But she couldn't part with that, for she said, "My cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away." So she put them on the shelf. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was angry and faint, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. And he said, "You are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter, and fire to keep you warm. Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood." Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned, black as a coal in the flame. And every country school boy has seen her in the wood, where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food. This is a ballad poem. It narrates a story in short paragraphs. Further, legend refers to a historical story that is very old and has been orally passed from generation to generation. The poet wants to say that when you have something, then share it with others and don't be selfish and greedy. This storyboard tells you the summary of the poem. how Saint Peter went preaching and reached the old woman's house. As he was starving, he asked for a cake, to which the woman wasn't ready to even part with any. This angered Saint Peter, and he cursed her and turned her into a bird that was a woodpecker who has to peck and on the trees to bore and have its food. Students, we have to be generous while we are on this earth. Thank you. Stay safe.